For two Cannon Beach boys who went.
On World News Tonight this Saturday, Jordanian officials say two alleged al-Qaeda members confessed to killing an American diplomat. More attacks may have been planned. Taking sides in Trent Lott country.
I think that the average white male Mississippian feels that Trent was stupid rather than Trent was wrong.
Will the Southern senator weather the political storm? The angry ally, thousands of South Koreans take to the streets against the United States. And 30 years after the last American walked on the moon, what has happened to the human exploration of space?
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight, Saturday.
Good evening, I'm Bob Woodruff. There has been a major break in the case of the American diplomat killed in Jordan 2 months ago. He was murdered just 2 weeks after the U.S. renewed a warning that al-Qaeda might try to kidnap an American in that country. Today, Jordanian officials said two alleged members of al-Qaeda have, in fact, confessed to the crime. More from ABC's Mike Lee.
American diplomat Lawrence Foley was shot to death in his driveway on October 28th. The two suspects, their arrest announced today, were taken into custody 10 days ago. They are a Libyan by the name of Salim Saad bin Saweed, who was allegedly the triggerman, and Yasser Fatih Ibrahim, a Jordanian. Officials say he drove the getaway car.
They confessed to the killing, and they confessed to being members of Al-Qaeda network.
Jordanian officials say the two suspects confessed to taking their orders from this man, identified by Jordanian TV as Ahmed al-Khalela, a fugitive, better known as Abu Musab al-Zarqawi. He's believed by law enforcement agencies to be one of bin Laden's top operatives, trained in Afghanistan, still at large, and in charge of plotting terrorist attacks in Europe. Jordanian investigators said the al-Qaeda boss furnished the two murder suspects with ground-to-air missiles, machine guns, grenades, and money.
They were planning to do all sorts of terrorist acts in Jordan beside the murder of Mr. Foley.
Lawrence Foley had received an award for working on health care for the poor. Jordanian officials say he was probably targeted because he was not surrounded by guards. Diplomatic security has now been tightened. Mike Lee, ABC News, London.
The head of the FBI, Robert Mueller, said today that nearly 100 terrorist attacks have been thwarted worldwide since September 11th, some of them targeting the U.S. Mueller warns that many potential terrorists remain in this country. It has been 8 days since Mississippi Senator Trent Lott made the racially charged comments that have triggered an uproar. 4 apologies later, the controversy is still raging, even in the senator's home district, where ABC's John Cochran has been talking to the people.
The Mississippi coast, Trent Lott country. He was a big player in bringing casinos and good-paying jobs, in getting government contracts for shipbuilding and other projects.
He's the guy that people go to when they have a problem with Washington.
You can fly into Trent Lott International Airport. He even gets his own monument at the Trent Lott Middle School. And there are plenty of grateful people here who believe the news media overplayed Lott's controversial remarks.
I think that they might be taking it and using him as a whipping post. I believe that what he said, he didn't mean anything by it.
Lott supporters hope yesterday's apology will put an end to what they say is an embarrassment not only to him, but to a state trying to overcome its racist past.
Segregation is a stain on our nation's soul. There's no other way to describe it.
Lott's plea for forgiveness failed to convince his hometown newspaper, which still wants him to step down as Republican leader. Lott's supporters are furious with the paper.
We weren't very popular, to say the least. We just think that as the leader in the U.S. Senate, that those remarks were just not appropriate for someone of his stature.
Another coastal paper feels Lott has long failed to be sensitive enough to racial concerns, but believes he may now change.
We have accepted the apology, and tomorrow's edition, we will say that he ought to be given a second chance.
Many blacks were reluctant to discuss Lott on camera. Some feared economic retribution from Lott supporters. A local NAACP official was not reluctant.
The only thing I know is that Trent is a shrewd politician, and whatever is politically expedient for Trent to save Trent's skin, he's going to do it.
Down here, Lott's supporters and detractors both feel that even if he survives for now, he will still be standing on a political banana peel. As one local paper put it, one more mistake involving race relations will, quote, send him quickly to oblivion. John Cochran, ABC News on Mississippi's Gulf Coast.
It has been a week of increasing tensions on the Korean Peninsula. 2 days ago, North Korea announced it will revive its nuclear facilities to generate badly needed electricity. Today, officials hinted that if the United Nations does not remove surveillance seals and cameras from the facilities immediately, the North Koreans will do it themselves. The nuclear threat in North Korea is giving South Korea new reason for concern as well. But today, it was anger at the United States that triggered protests throughout the country. ABC's Mark Litke has this report from Seoul.
In a dozen South Korean cities tonight, thousands turned out in protest over a gruesome traffic accident last June in which two 14-year-old Korean girls were crushed by a U.S. military tank. When the American soldiers involved in the incident were recently acquitted by a U.S. military tribunal instead of a Korean court, it sparked an anti-American frenzy that refuses to die down. Koreans say the U.S. military has been arrogant and insensitive at a time when America needs its friends and allies worldwide. The U.S. has repeatedly apologized for the accident, including a phone call from President Bush to the Korean president last night. But many here say they're tired of feeling subservient to American interests in their own country.
Unfortunately, there's been an image that the U.S. is taking the Korean-American alliance for granted, that there's not enough respect.
These demonstrations do leave the impression with some that South Korea is more distrustful of the United States than it is with its longtime communist enemy to the north, which is generally not the case here. The South needs no reminders that the North Korean regime remains dangerous and unpredictable, that U.S. troops help guard the world's most heavily armed border, only 25 miles from the South Korean capital, and that the threatened resumption of North Korea's nuclear program is a potential threat to their security.
There's every reason to be worried about this.
Perhaps because of the recent North Korean threats, tonight's demonstrations were more muted, but they were large and the message was the same. South Koreans accept the need for a U.S.-Korea military alliance, but Washington should remember, they say, an alliance is based on mutual respect. Mark Litke, ABC News, Seoul.
Retired U.S. Navy Commander Scott Waddle arrived in Japan today, where he will offer condolences for the sinking of a Japanese fishing boat last year. 9 men and boys died when the submarine under Waddle's command surfaced beneath their boat and split it open. A military court reprimanded Waddle but allowed him to retire at full rank and pension. In the English Channel, 2 cargo ships collided today. No one was hurt, but one of the ships, a Norwegian vessel, sank along with the nearly 3,000 cars it was carrying. Heavy fog may have been a factor. In Venezuela today, there was a huge demonstration against President Hugo Chavez. Several 100,000 protesters marched through Caracas demanding Chavez's resignation. The leftist leader is rejecting calls for early elections. And now on to Iraq. Today, the director of the International Atomic Energy Agency said it will take the United Nations a few months to reach a conclusion about Iraq's 12,000-page weapons declaration. This as weapons inspectors continue their search. More from ABC's Dan Harris in Baghdad.
The UN weapons inspectors, criticized by some U.S. officials for not being aggressive, today said they had their busiest day yet.
They're doing our best, but again, it takes time.
They inspected about a dozen sites, including a return visit to an infectious disease center, where yesterday, for the first time, the Iraqis told them they could not have access to certain rooms. The Iraqis said since it was Friday, the Muslim day of prayer, the man who had the keys was off. Today, the inspectors got into those rooms and said they found no evidence that the Iraqis had tampered with anything overnight. Also today, the inspectors discussed their demand that Iraq hand over a list of all the scientists who've worked on weapons programs.
What we expect from the list is from the top. We're not talking about the sleepers. We're talking about those who are involved in those programs.
The U.S. has been pressuring the inspectors to take the scientists and their families out of the country for questioning. The weapons inspectors on the ground here in Baghdad won't publicly discuss how, when, or where they'll conduct these interviews. But off camera, they admit they won't be able to force the Iraqi scientists to actually answer the questions. As one official said, we can't torture them. Saddam Hussein today met with his cabinet. While he made no mention of war or weapons inspectors, his deputy prime minister, Tariq Aziz, did give a speech accusing the U.S. and Israel of conspiring to destroy Muslims. Sean Penn, the American actor and director, conducted an inspection of his own today. On day 2 of a 3-day visit to Iraq, he toured a water treatment plant with a group of peace activists, mostly American. Tomorrow, the real inspectors say they will gain 15 more people, adding strength to a process they say is accelerating. Dan Harris, ABC News, Baghdad.
And as the weapons inspectors did their work, U.S. fighter jets bombed 3 air defense installations in southern Iraq today. The military said the strikes occurred after Iraqi military jets violated the region's no-fly zone. That ship carrying Scud missiles purchased from North Korea is now in the port of Yemen. It was intercepted earlier this week, but allowed to complete its journey after Yemen assured the U.S. it would not give the missiles to another country. And still ahead on World News Tonight this Saturday, crews begin the anthrax cleanup of a Washington postal facility as a new controversy unfolds. The recent flurry of apologies across America, and why the space race has slowed to a crawl.
This is World News Tonight Saturday, brought to you by Caltrain.
By the time you reach 50, if all you're doing is wishing for good health, good luck. To help put the odds in your favor, have your bones checked, get a colonoscopy, and if you're not already taking Caltrate, start. The same Caltrate shown in a clinical study to help stop bone loss may also help reduce the risk of recurrent colon polyps. Do more than just wish for good health. Help keep your bones strong and your colon healthy with Caltrate. Now more than ever, it's never too late for Caltrate.
35,000 dentists think enough of Crest White Strips to sell them in their offices. 10 million people have tried them. 4 out of 5 would recommend them. Crest White Strips. The secret to a whiter smile is in the strip.
I have asthma. I also have coaching running through my veins. I have a daughter who's a fearless midfielder and a dad who taught me that when you give it your all, you always win. I have asthma, but it's just a single part of my life, and Singulair is part of what I do every day to help control it.
Singulair is not a steroid, and it's not an inhaler. It's a different kind of asthma controller. It's a once-a-day tablet that can help control your asthma for a full 24 hours. It also comes in a cherry chewable tablet for children 2 years and older. Singulair should not be used to treat acute asthma attacks. Continue taking your other asthma medicines unless your doctor tells you to stop or change the dose. If symptoms get worse, contact your doctor at once. Side effects are generally mild and vary by age and may include headache, flu, runny nose, and ear infection. For more information about Singulair, ask your doctor. And ask about adding once-a-day Singulair.
I have asthma, but I don't want it to defeat me.
Singulair, asthma control that can help you breathe easier.
Why suffer through thick glasses of Metamucil for regularity? Try a refreshing change. Pure, natural water with Fibercon caplets. Just as effective as Metamucil, and Fibercon is refreshingly easier to take.
The lights are back on, for the most part, in North Carolina. Nearly 2 million customers were left in the dark after an ice storm a week and a half ago. Duke Power says service has finally returned to normal. The decontamination process began today at the Brentwood Postal Facility in Washington, D.C. The building, contaminated by anthrax spores, has been shut down for more than a year. And as ABC's Lisa Sylvester reports, now there is a new controversy.
New documents obtained by court order suggest postal officials knew the Brentwood facility was contaminated after processing anthrax-tainted letters sent to Capitol Hill, but kept the building open for 3 more days.
They're smoking gun documents that prove that postal officials knew that their workers' lives were at risk, yet they did nothing.
October 18th, 2001, a plant manager noted in a daily log the mail was leaking and a postal machine tested hot for anthrax. But the building wasn't evacuated and postal workers were not put on antibiotics until the 21st. By the next day, 2 postal workers had died from inhalation anthrax. By contrast, when a letter addressed to Senator Tom Daschle was opened in the Hart Congressional Building, the offices were shut down immediately and staffers given medicine. Watchdog group Judicial Watch has called for a criminal investigation, claiming the Postal Service kept Brentwood open to avoid losing $500,000 a day. Postal worker Leroy Richmond almost died from inhalation anthrax.
It's unbelievable to think that an organization would put profit above human life.
The Postal Service insists it was relying on the advice of federal health officials who believe there was no way enough spores could leak out of a sealed envelope to affect anyone.
Our decision to open or close a facility never, absolutely never included a dollar and cents equation.
Now, after more than a year, the anthrax cleanup is finally underway, but it will still be months before a postal worker sets foot in this building again. Lisa Sylvester, ABC News, Washington.
Still ahead, America's penchant for the apology.
Are you taking Allegra for your seasonal allergies yet? Whoa! I guess not. Allegra for multi-symptom relief. See your doctor for people 12 and over. Side effects are low and may include headache, cold, or back pain. Allegra, it's time to switch.
I'm having a little trouble quitting smoking.
Morning sickness and all the other changes that you have when you're first pregnant, plus trying to give up cigarettes, it's so difficult.
I stopped smoking for about 3 months.
I last about 48 hours.
It's an addiction, definitely an addiction, but you can overcome it.
That's why there's the Great Start Quit line, free personal counseling that works.
I do whatever it takes to make sure that my baby's healthy.
Call 1-866-66-START.
Cold symptoms got you low on energy? Get Dayquil. The daytime, non-drowsy, stuffy head, sore throat, coughing, aching, fever help get back your energy medicine. From the makers of NyQuil.
It's a beautiful morning.
Ask your doctor about Vioxx, a prescription medicine from Merck. And find out if Vioxx is right for you. Vioxx.
Every time you scratch that itchy scalp, you're damaging it. And that's not healthy. Now get Maximum Strength Scalpicin to promote a healthier scalp. It stops the itch, stops the scratching. Not a shampoo, Maximum Strength Scalpicin is a clear, odorless liquid with the itch medicine doctors recommend. Plus, it contains scalp-nourishing aloe. Here's to a healthier scalp with Maximum Strength Scalpicin. Also, an original formula for milder itching.
If you have diabetes, you've probably handled thousands of test strips. But no more, thanks to the Accu-Check Compact Meter. Just drop in a drum containing 17 test strips. Press the button and you're ready. 17 consecutive tests and no handling strips. What could be clearer? The Accu-Check Compact Meter. Look for the one with the drum.
Have you made the move to Allegra for your seasonal allergies? Doesn't sound like it. Allegra for multi-symptom relief. See your doctor for people 12 and over. Side effects are low and may include headache, cold, or back pain. Allegra, it's time to switch.
You think you're busy this holiday season? MD's William Fichtner and Bruce Willis have to save the world. Talk about the wrong stuff. Armageddon, tonight on ABC.
It has been a week marked by mea culpas, headline after headline detailing a flurry of apologies from an assortment of political and religious figures. As ABC's John Berman reports, some say sorries have become an American addiction.
In Mississippi, Trent Lott issued his fourth apology in less than a week. At the Vatican, Cardinal Bernard Law apologized again and resigned. And in baseball, an apology might get Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame.
We have an instinctive cultural need to even the score. And one way to even the score and to show that one person is not better than another is to engage in the ritual of apology.
But saying you're sorry and saying it well are two different things.
I'm sorry for my words. They were poorly chosen and insensitive, and I regret that I have had that, the way it's been interpreted.
Critics say at first, Senator Lott dodged the main issue.
He apologized for his choice of words, for the impression of his words, for offending people, for the effect of his words, but not for the actual fault in celebrating segregation.
Admitting fault is something Pete Rose has never done.
And the only thing I can tell the fans is I did not bet on baseball.
Rose's denials in the face of evidence from the league have kept him out of the Hall of Fame. Now there is talk that a mere admission and apology could be enough to get him in.
If he shows that he is willing to do that, he probably will be forgiven because America is very much a forgiving country.
It's a forgiving country about some things, but there are limits. Cardinal Law has been apologizing for almost a year, but in the end, he gave up his job. As of tonight, Trent Lott still has his. John Berman, ABC News, New York.
When we come back, how one small step for man became no steps at all.
Look, Roy, Jimmy's emailed us pictures from camp.
Way to go, Jimmy. That's my boy.
Hey, it's a picture from Jimmy.
Dude, we have to go to camp next year.
Looking for more expressive email? Introducing MSN 8. It's our best version of MSN yet with more exciting email. Switching is easy, and if you call now, you get 2 months free when you sign up. Find out why it's better with the butterfly. Call 866-TRY MSN 8 today.
For itchy patches of dry winter skin, moisturizers can't always cut it. Try Cortisone 10 Plus.
Among these, only Cortisone 10 Plus has 10 moisturizers, plus the power of Cortisone 10 to stop itch and help heal.
Try Cortisone 10 Plus.
I offer you the car of tomorrow. It has the ride of a luxury sedan, the seating capacity of a minivan.
What's a minivan?
And capabilities of an SUV.
SUV?
Oh, did I mention the compartments for your laptop and your cell phone? They just weren't ready for it. Are you? My name is Harley Earl, and I've come back to build you a great car.
Buick, the spirit of American style.
I have asthma. I also have coaching running through my veins. I have a daughter who's a fearless midfielder and a dad who taught me that when you give it your all, you always win. I have asthma, but it's just a single part of my life, and Singulair is part of what I do every day to help control it.
Singulair is not a steroid, and it's not an inhaler. It's a different kind of asthma controller. It's a once-a-day tablet that can help control your asthma for a full 24 hours. It also comes in a cherry chewable tablet for children 2 years and older. Singulair should not be used to treat acute asthma attacks. Continue taking your other asthma medicines unless your doctor tells you to stop or change the dose. If symptoms get worse, contact your doctor at once. Side effects are generally mild and vary by age and may include headache, flu, runny nose, and ear infection. For more information about Singulair, ask your doctor. And ask about adding once-a-day Singulair.
I have asthma, but I don't want it to defeat me.
Singulair, asthma control that can help you breathe easier.
A report in a leading medical journal recognizes the link between vitamins and the reduced risk of chronic diseases and recommends all adults take one multivitamin daily. So take Centrum today, always complete from A to Zinc.
Super Bowl MVP Tom Brady leads the Patriots in a crucial battle against Steve McNair and the Titans.
Michael Van Madden to him on Monday night.
A brief review of our main story tonight. Jordanian officials say they have solved the October murder of an American diplomat. They say 2 alleged members of Al-Qaeda have confessed to the crime. More attacks had been planned. Finally, 30 years ago today, the last men to walk on the moon were almost midway through their mission. But Apollo 17 was NASA's 6th and final manned moon landing. Those years between 1969 and 1972 had been a heady time for the U.S. space program, men going where no one had gone before. The question today, why aren't they going anymore? How about Mars? Here's ABC's Judy Muller.
I was strolling on the moon one day. In the merry, merry month of December.
December 1972. Apollo 17 astronauts Gene Cernan and Harrison Schmitt became the last humans to walk on the moon.
I did not really believe I would be sitting here 3 decades later, still being the last man to have left my footprints on the surface of the moon. Quite frankly, it's a little disappointing.
Cernan is not alone in wondering what happened to manned space exploration.
Hey, it is! I can see it from here. It's orange.
Why is it that
We went from Kitty Hawk to the moon in 66 years. And in the last 33 years since then, exactly half that time, we've gone nowhere.
Well, not exactly nowhere. NASA has continued to explore space by remote control, sending unmanned spacecraft to investigate the planets and observe the stars. From Mars Pathfinder to the Hubble telescope, these mechanical explorers have sent back invaluable scientific data.
We got smaller and smarter, requiring more, allowing us to do more things faster than a single-minded large human exploration program.
Even so, there is a growing drumbeat to resume manned exploration, this time to Mars.
The leap from what we did for the moon 30 years ago to humans to Mars, it would be the greatest step in any aspect of human exploration ever attained.
But Mars is 200 times farther away than the moon. A manned expedition to Mars would take months under extremely dangerous conditions. That's why robots will be going first. This coming spring, 2 new Mars rovers will be launched to prepare the way for possible manned expeditions sometime in the distant future.
We better know darn well what we're going to see when we get there. So we need to understand Mars a lot better using robots before we send people.
Robotic exploration clearly is safer and more efficient, but advocates of human exploration argue that a manned mission would inspire us in ways that robots can't. And they say the cost would not be prohibitive if NASA stopped throwing money at what they say are the wrong projects.
The most important thing is ending the endless waste of the space station and the shuttle. That's where all the money is going. It's just eating up the program.
The International Space Station will cost at least $65 billion before it's finished. A single flight of the shuttle, which carries freight to the space station, cost $400 million. Those costs are defended as necessary research for man's future in space. But not everyone agrees.
We have decided to exploit space at the 100% expense of not exploring space. We have ceased to become a spacefaring nation.
The obstacles to a manned mission to Mars are enormous, from how to deal with the loss of bone density in zero gravity to the cost of creating an environment the astronauts could live in once they reach the planet. But the last man to set foot on the moon thinks resuming human exploration would give the space program an enormous psychological boost.
Right away, Houston.
You know, you can send a camera to Mars, or you can send a camera to Saturn, and even bring it back, but you've never seen a camera have a ticker tape parade in New York City. I'm not talking about the celebrity status. I'm talking about people's response to a human being himself going where no man has been before.
Come on out here and give me a salute.
Cernan fears it will not happen again in his lifetime. In fact, even with public support and government backing, it may be decades before another footprint is left behind. Judy Muller, ABC News, Los Angeles.
That's our report tonight. I'm Bob Woodruff. For all of us here at ABC News, good night.
Trent Lott under fire. Will he survive? What's next for the Republicans? Plus, Senators Lugar and Lieberman with tough talk about the axis of evil. This week, Sunday.
This has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source. ABC News, now traveling to all 50 states in 50 weeks in search of America.
When this lawyer takes on a murder case,
I killed somebody.
She discovers a darker secret.
I did other things.
Do not be telling anybody else.
Now she's forced to make one shocking decision.
Technically, you can reveal what you know. Ethically, you'd be signing your own death warrant.
A new practice following a new alias, ABC Sunday.